Hello all, this is Barbara Mann with Your Empowered You, and welcome to our short video on the fundamentals of a solid resume. So obviously I get quite a few clients who want to switch jobs, or maybe something happened with their current job and is forcing them to obtain employment elsewhere, and they want to know what to include in a resume and help with obviously resume building. So in this video we're going to talk about things like what is the purpose of your resume first and foremost. This is to help guide the conversation a little bit later. What should we include in our resume? And do we need more than one resume, or is it a one size fits all and one will suffice? So what's the purpose of your resume? It's to get you noticed by the hiring managers, by the recruiters. There's hundreds of resumes out there, and you need to set yourself apart. You want to be the one that they say, oh, I'm interested in knowing more about this person. They don't know you. They only know you through your resume. So it's very important to highlight those key accomplishments and toot your own horn. This is where you're tooting your horn. But make sure that while you're tooting the horn, that it's relevant to this specific job. You're going to hear me talk about a couple of repeat items, and one of them is make sure that anything that's on your resume is relevant to the specific job. So what should we include in our resume? Obviously on the top, if anybody's written a resume, it's important to include your identifier. So your name, phone number. You don't need to, I guess, include your address. Some people do, that's fine, but the main things are name, your phone number, and preferably a LinkedIn profile. I mean, LinkedIn is an enormous business networking site. It's important to have a LinkedIn profile. If you don't already have one, I would strongly encourage you to create your LinkedIn profile. So make sure you have all that identifier so that someone can reference. If you have a website, maybe you include your website as well. That's fine. Always include a objective or your professional summary. Now here's what's important about that is that it is pertinent and specific to the position. So this is where we need to change it up depending on what type of position that we are applying for. So if we're applying for a customer service role and our professional summary includes a bunch of technical goodies so that you're trying to obtain some sort of very technical position, those don't jive. So you're probably not going to even get past reading your accomplishments. Obviously, you want to include the accomplishments. Make sure the accomplishments are quantified. That means you want some numbers, dates, you want some figures, some statistics, whatever it is to help people understand what increasing 10% means. So a lot of times people say increase sales by 10%. Well, if I just heard that, I don't know what that means. It's very vague to me. Is that good? Is that bad? How many sales does that mean? How long a time did it take? So make sure that your accomplishments are quantified and they're specific and pertinent to the position. So there might be oodles and oodles and oodles of accomplishments that you have. Make sure to include the ones that are pertinent to the actual position you're applying for. Always use action verbs and not passive type of language. So action verbs would be things like spearheaded, increased, reduced, implemented. I mean, strong words where it's creating that vision that you did something really important. So be aware of those types of action verbs. Again, you're selling yourself here, so it's important to be positive and use those action verbs. Only include the work history if it's relevant. So you might want to include maybe you worked in a particular position for a couple of years, but maybe it's not as relevant to the position. So you don't want to include a ton of key accomplishments. Maybe it's just the company, the title, and the date. And that's about it. Okay? If it's not really tooting your horn for anything, keep it short and sweet. Other items to include. Maybe you have some special skills that the job is required for the job. Make sure you include those special skills. Obviously, that's how you're setting yourself apart from others who are applying. Include the volunteer or community type efforts if you feel that that's going to set yourself apart and is pertinent to the position. So maybe it's you are applying for some sort of leadership type position, and maybe you led some sort of volunteer or committee or community effort. Include that. That's important, especially if you're applying for to a company or a position where outside activities are important. Include that. Make sure you include it. Let's talk a little bit about some of the formatting and other things to include. So I can't stress this enough. You've read the job description. You're excited about it. You think that you are a good fit and that you're qualified. Make sure that you transfer some of the items that are needed from the job description and the qualifications into your resume, because you want these things to match. It's important because they're going through the applicant tracking system. So make sure that is jiving. Include some of those buzzwords from the job description to your resume. Make sure it's short and sweet, 1 to 2 pages max. You can't have a book on a resume because they will not be read. I must have reviewed 1,000 resumes in my career. Any longer than 2 pages, no, they will not be read. They just won't. In fact, on page 1 is really where you get your bang for your buck. So make sure it's easy to read. Don't get all elaborate and weird on different formats and trying to catch the attention. That's not where you want to catch the attention. It should come to easy to read, same font, bolding keywords that you want a hiring manager's eye to go to. Use bullet points. Those are the things. Quantifying, those are the things that get people's attention. And making sure that what is on that first page in particular is relevant to the position. Okay? So other things to include, quantifying. I'm going to talk about that. That's important. Relevancy and quantification is very important. Include your education. That's pretty standard to include on a resume. If there are classes or seminars that are relevant to the position, include those. Definitely include those. And some positions require certifications or licenses or both. Obviously, make sure to include those as well. Now, some people include licenses even if they've expired. Okay, that's fine. What it does show is that you have the license, you've been able to obtain it, but maybe you let it expire because you had another position. Include that. That's important because, again, these things are going to expand by electronic system. You want that picked up. So let's talk about the resume being specific to the role. So I think that is pretty self-evident that you need more than one resume. So it is not a one-size-fits-all in the resume world. It should be very specific to the role. Cover letter. We're not going to talk a ton about what is included in the cover letter. Cover letters are short and sweet. It should never be more than about 4 paragraphs. But the cover letter should also be specific, and it should mirror your resume. So, to have just generic cover letters that are sent on resumes, that doesn't fly. Like a resume, it should be pertinent to the position. So that means including items that are in the job description and key qualifications and the cover letter should show how you're going to help that company. Okay? So it's been said, a resume shows your past, a cover letter shows your future. So that's different. So that shows you what is different about a cover letter and a resume. But they should sort of mirror each other in the sense that it's specific and includes those keywords. Then there's other resources. I always encourage people to have your resume reviewed, whether it's with a hiring manager that you may know, a family member, a friend. Make sure that your resume gets a second set of eyes. It's great to have different people's perspectives on your resume. They'll tell you, is it specific enough? What does this mean? I don't understand this, because they may be. And especially if someone doesn't know the industry, you'll really get some good feedback because they may tell you, I don't understand, what this quantification qualification. What are you trying to quantify here? And really give you positive feedback so that you can dial it in and you can explain to them what that means. And when you explain it, you tend to you're able to actually reword those key accomplishments so anybody, including a layman, can understand what you're saying. There's obviously other types of resume review services. GoResume.com, the job sites such as Career Builder and Indeed have resume reviews sections. There's a fee, obviously, but they do add a lot of value. They let you know what kind of visibility with the recruiters. How is it looking in the searches for the recruiters? And that's important because is your resume leaning towards customer service? Is it leaning towards HR? Is it leaning towards leadership? Based on your keywords. So they'll let you know. The resume review service will offer suggestions and they'll offer to rewrite it. But again, these obviously cost, there's a fee there, but it could be a very invaluable service to you for the right position. Remember, you're trying to set yourself apart, and what these companies are trying to do is letting you know how you're going to set yourself apart, right? So let's wrap this up in a bow. Key items. The resume is specific to the role. We talked about that. Include your keywords and the key qualifications. Somehow weave that into your resume. So after you've read the job description, and what the minimum qualifications are, weave that in. Quantify the accomplishments. Quantify. Include relevant items only. Keep it short and sweet and easy to read. 1 to 2 pages. The first page should be the power page. And then your cover letter mirrors the resume with the relevant items. And some of the, again, the keywords and items and skills that are needed for the qualification. So I hope you've enjoyed our very short video on the fundamentals of a good resume. And for additional resources or to schedule a session with me, please visit my website at www.youремpoweredyou.com. Email me at bman@youремpoweredyou.com or feel free to give me a call at 916-633-2555. And I thank you very much.